Let us begin. I live in Grants Pass, Oregon, and in Grants Pass there are two main roads through town. There's 6th Street and there's 7th Street. And to get across the river, you have to go down 6th Street and you have to go over the bridge. Now with these two streets, they're one-way streets, and so even if you are on 6th Street and you try to go around to get across the river, you can't because there's only one bridge. There's only one way to get across. And today I'd like to analyze and respond to this statement. It doesn't matter what you believe as long as you are sincere. And today I want to talk about this in many ways, but first I want to focus on the whole point of it does matter what you believe. Because if you believe something that isn't true, you'll die and you won't reach that end that you want to achieve. First I would like to read a quote by Dr. John DeWitt. He says that sincerity is no good if it's not sincerity in the truth. Sincerity is no substitute for the truth. So what is the truth? And today I want to look at this in three ways. First, I want to look at how there's only one way. Secondly, there are many other roads. And lastly, how we must share this good news to others. So first, there's only one way to God. By looking at this statement, it doesn't matter what you believe as long as you are sincere. A person is thinking about how I can reach that goal, or I can reach what I want to achieve as long as I believe, as long as I'm sincere about how I live my life. It's okay. As long as it doesn't matter what I believe, I can believe what I want. It doesn't have to be the truth. It can just be what my standards wants to be. As long as I'm sincere about it, then it's okay. And this is wrong, because there's only one way to God. If each of us want to just live our life how we want to live it, if we want to be a good person, or if we want to sin a lot and do bad things, things that God doesn't command, even if we're sincere about it, it still isn't the truth, and it still isn't what we should do. John 14:6 says, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no man comes to the Father except through me. We can be sincere about how we want to live our lives to our own standards. But if that standard isn't God's, if that standard isn't believing in Jesus Christ as He has called us, then we won't achieve that goal, achieve that at the end of our lives, when we die, we will go to a place, heaven or hell. And if we believe that, okay, I'll just live my life as a good person, then I'll make it to heaven. I don't have to follow what God commands us to do. I don't have to follow God's standard. That is wrong, because that isn't the truth. Secondly, I want to move on there are many other roads. As I talked about in my opening, to get across the bridge, there's only one road. And yet other people might try to skirt along on side streets, just as in life. When a person believes something, and even if they're sincere about it, and they don't think it matters what they believe, they're in a sense going on other roads that God hasn't commanded them to follow. They're following other roads that they made, other paths that they think is how they should go. And that's not right. Matthew 7:13 says, Enter by the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and there are many who go in by it. This verse is saying that the gate is narrow. There's only one bridge. And so you can't believe in something or be sincere about something if it's not true. You can, but you will die in the end. If you live your life on earth, because we have two lives. We have one life that will live on earth, and we'll have one that will live for all of the eternity. Martin Luther is a reformed person, and many of us know about him, how when he lived his life, he tried to do many good works, to work for his salvation. He would pay taxes, he'd pay money to the church, he'd walk on his knees to try to be a better person. That's what he believed, and he was very sincere about it. He was very sincere, thinking that he had to be a good person to please God. But that is not the truth. The truth is that we cannot be saved by our good works. We cannot be saved by what we do, but it's by what God does. And we must share this good news. There are many people in our world who believe that if they're sincere about something, then that's okay. But that is not okay, because that is not what God commands us to do. These people are going the wrong way, and we must show them the right way, that they can believe in something that is true, that what God has commanded us for us to do and the way we live our lives. They can be sincere about that. They should be sincere about that. But if they're sincere sincere about these other things, they will not please God. They are still being disobedient to God, and they will go to hell and die and live in fire for all eternity. Proverbs 14:2 says, "There is a way that seems right to a man, but in the end it leads to death." We live in a day and age where people have their own standards and how they want to live. It's not new. It's from the very beginning when Adam and Eve sinned. They had their own belief. They had their own way of they wanted to live. And they were sincere about it. When they ate the fruit, they were very sincere about that. And yet it was wrong. It should matter what you believe in, because if you do not believe in the truth, then you will die. We need to tell people about this. Love demands it. They're going the wrong way. We need to share the good news that Jesus died for them. Just as there's only one bridge across, the only one way to follow, we must tell people about this. Because if they're sincere about something, and it's not the truth, think how sad that is. We once were lost, but now we're found. I once was blind, but now I see. And this is a glorious thought, and I urge you to tell other people about it. Thank you.